Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on KREM 2 News at 11. I'm Amanda Rowley. Mark is off tonight. Tonight, Spokane Public Schools discussed its campus safety. Just last week, the Spokane police chief sent a letter to the superintendent claiming a pattern of assaults and threats not being reported to police. Our Kyle Simchuk was at the SPS meeting tonight and shares how parents feel about the claims.
Well, parents were really divided tonight. Some sided with the district, saying schools are handling things just fine, while other parents believe schools are in a safety and security crisis and need to involve law enforcement more often. During tonight's meeting, officials shared data showing the amount of school suspensions and expulsions going back to 2014. Those have declined over the years, and obviously 2020 is an outlier since students were learning from home. The district also shared results of a student survey taken this fall. One question asked them to rank how safe they felt in schools from 1 to 5. The average score in elementary schools was 3.8. Middle and high school students said 3.7. Board members say mediation and diversion strategies have been effective in improving school safety. Some parents agree. Others say the data doesn't show what's actually happening.
We have the means and we have the ability to make sure that every child succeeds. They're not criminals. They have behavioral issues. We need to have behavioral specialists address the issues.
The FBI doesn't show up unless there's something to look at. These are truths. I just hope that there's some transparency and willingness to cooperate if they have questions.
A school spokesperson told us teachers should feel safe to call 911 if they or students are assaulted. However, an amendment to district policy signed by Superintendent Adam Swinyard March 9th says law enforcement should be used as the absolute last resort and only for incidents where police are necessary to address a serious threat to school safety. That includes sex crimes, robbery, first-degree assault, possession of deadly weapons, suicide, and homicide. So Spokane Police and the FBI are still investigating these claims. Reporting in the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Also during tonight's meeting, the district discussed new options for its busing system. The district is dealing with driver shortages and bus route delays. To address this, one option the school board is now seriously considering is to increase the size of walk zones. Now, this is the area around a school where a student would not be eligible to take the bus. These zones would potentially expand to 1.5 miles for middle school and high schoolers, ultimately reducing the number of riders. Another strategy discussed would be to extend bus arrival times to allow more time for arrivals and pickups. And we're counting down the hours to when the Zags face Arkansas in the Sweet 16 tomorrow. Our Brenna Green and Travis Green share what Gonzaga had to say ahead of the matchup tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to the Chase Center in San Francisco. Gonzaga preparing for their 7th straight Sweet 16.
Yeah, pretty incredible to think about. Now, the Bulldogs met with the media today ahead of their matchup with 4th-seeded Arkansas. And this may not be a huge surprise for those of you at home, but the Bulldogs are heavy favorites to advance to the Elite 8.
Just feel great about being able to do this seven times in a row. We're not just taking that for granted, and we've definitely enjoyed every part of it.
Gonzaga back in the Sweet 16 yet again. The top-seeded Bulldogs set to face 4th-seeded Arkansas on Thursday, a game where the team from Spokane is a 9.5-point favorite, but they aren't seeing it that way.
They're a really good freaking team. They have a nice combination of just athleticism, length, and then they have a stretch 5 who's good as well. So it's going to be a big challenge, and they're a really good team. And I don't think they're being disrespected. I think they're a really good team, at least in our eyes.
Head coach Eric Musselman is using the underdog theme to his team's advantage, making sure they know the outside world isn't giving them a chance.
You know, when we do a film session, there's stuff spliced in on what people have said, 1,000%. I don't mind, conveying that. We understand the respect factor for us in this particular game is kind of non-existent from a national perspective. So yeah, our guys are going to see it, hear it, all the way up until tip-off.
The Razorbacks are a team that can lock down their opponent, giving up under 60 points a game this season, led by senior guard J.D. Note, who is averaging over 18 points a game and is 14th in the country in steals with 2.3 per game.
Handful, man, a handful. So good in transition. I mean, he can pull the 3 on you, or he can lift, fake, and drive, and get a crease and get downhill. Great at getting to the line. So a handful. Those guys are hard, and he's on quite a roll. So we'll have to guard him as a group.
Stopping Note will be key for the Zags, and for Arkansas and Musselman's eyes, their transition defense has to be near perfect to keep up.
It can't be pretty good. It better be great, or we have no chance.
And he knows this from watching the WCC throughout the year.
Weirdly enough, I went to San Diego, which is in the same conference. And so I watch this conference whenever I can. And if they're ever on TV, it's always Gonzaga. It's not San Diego, Santa Clara, I promise you that.
And you know, Brent, I was a little caught off guard when Eric Musselman said that he follows the West Coast Conference so closely, so he's pretty familiar with his Gonzaga team.
Yeah, I think he just loves West Coast basketball in general. He coached the Kings and the Warriors in the NBA. He coached Nevada a few years ago, so maybe it just brings him a little slice of home watching teams on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now, keep watching us because we have more in our show. Later on, we're going to be catching up with all the Zag dads, the dads of the Gonzaga players. They went a bit viral over the weekend, and we had some fun with it.
That's right, the Zags, they got dads. But for now, reporting in San Francisco, I'm Travis Green. She's Brenda Green, Crim 2 Sports.